Hey, nangewesa nengito, we, nengito, nangewesa nengito, we.
Hey.
Nengito.
Meanwhile, as all this is happening, as Kalecha is inside this planning and even asking herself, okay, so here you are again, another night, what are you doing? There are some women in the Matanga who have daggers in their eyes. They want to kill me dead. Because they've all had eyes on him, and suddenly I've rocked up and I'm owning this funeral like I'm the wife. So me, I'm wondering, okay, first why you give me daggers? You know how this guy treated me? Me, I'm just here because someone died. And it's the right thing to do. Also, I told myself. Obviously, I was lying. I was thinking, I mean, really, if I help him out like this, he's called me for a reason. It must be this thing. That was just a slip up. We're good. I planned the entire funeral. I found myself in Udumo, deep somewhere. Sleeping in some car, you know those two, na majimoto na sleepers rooms, because it's deep shacks, there's no real hotel, far away. Then the aunties introduced me to his grandmother, who talks to me in Django the whole time. I don't know that they told her I'm the planner, I'm the wife, I don't think I have slaved for a funeral like that, even for my own family. My friends, I had blisters. My back was breaking in two. Teroburo, the grandmother says, sit here. They are singing and dancing. Me, I'm like, oh, there's a dead body in front of me. Oh, it's in the coffin. Okay. All this while, the aunties are pretty much throwing us together with this guy. Me, I'm just thinking, if you guys knew what was cutting here, you wouldn't be pushing us together. Even in that flight, they made our seats, we were sitting together. It was the most awkward experience of my life. I didn't know why I was there, but I was still going with this flow. I was still doing. We finished the funeral. As you know, Django funerals, it's a long experience. You arrive the day before, then you now bury, then you stay the next day. I'm like, I'm not cutting my hair. You guys, if you think I'm part of this home. Me, that's where I draw the line. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm not cutting my hair. Those who are cutting, they cut over there. Me, I'm not cutting. I'll go back to Nairobi now. I'm tired. And so we get on the plane and, we finally convince the aunties, okay, us guys, we need to go. And he says, we go. And we're the two of us. And in all this time now, he's really sweet. He's really grateful. You can imagine someone has helped you bury your mom, someone who you treated badly. I don't know how you behave. And being that it's a boy-girl situation, you don't know how to handle it. And since you had history. And we get back to Nairobi, and his friends picked up, one of his friends who couldn't make it for the funeral picks us up from the airport. We come to Roadhouse, which was near my house. And we get in and are like, let's eat. It's been a long journey. Remember the girls of daggers? Kumbe, that's their loco. Hey. Friends. I went to the washroom and I almost died. If you know Roadhouse, those two washrooms, they're small, eh? I was blocked at the door like this. So I'm wondering, whoa, okay, I know this face, I know this girl. I'm like, oh, you didn't come for the funeral? I didn't come because you went. You got on a plane with him and went. So I'm going, I'm not sure to do this information. The sister of this girl steps up and tells me, you're really hurting my sister. She's such a good girl. Where do you think you come off? You just walked in from nowhere. You think because you've planned a funeral, now you think he's yours. I don't know what. I'm like, wait. I don't even know what I've been doing this whole time. And kumbe, this is for me to be breaking people's hearts and I never knew. So I go back. I tell her now, if you have anything to say, please say it to the person who you believe you're in a relationship with, because you're not in a relationship with me, so why are you talking to me? I don't know your story. I don't know you. Yes, we were at the funeral planning and everything, but I don't know you like that. And so I go back and I sit down. Now I'm confused. We haven't eaten. We have to eat. I'm like, ole, okay. I'm eating. I'm quiet. He's like, what's wrong? I say, you need to talk to your people. Apparently, this is their local, and they want to kill me. He said, what are you talking about? On the way to the bathroom, this chick. So he ignores and does nothing, as men do. Don't want to get involved, don't want to have a fight. And we finish eating. And this is the first time he's getting to see where I live. I've been going to his house every day for I don't know how many weeks. Drops me off, wishes me a good night, and goes home. So the next day, he sends me a text to say, I can't thank you enough for all the support and the help. We would not have been able to plan this funeral without you. All the things. And then, mteja wa nambari uliopiga haipatikani kwa sasa. I really worried because for me, I was more concerned about his mental health. I know that sounds so stupid right now, but I was, because I thought to myself, he's just buried his mother alone, literally, because his siblings were not here. The relatives that he has, majority of them are just guys in shags. There's nobody in Nairobi. So maybe this is too hard and it's hitting home after it's happened. I mean, if you've lost someone, you know what I'm talking about. So I panic for a day. Ubare, let's go and find this guy. He's not picking up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Is he okay? I go. I figure the house. This car is parked there very nicely. So watchman, let's meet. I mean, I've been in that house for how long? And then I start knocking. I knock. I know he's inside. You guys, he didn't open the door. I was there for 1 hour. In my 40s. How foolish. I am like, okay, now I need to find his friends. Is he okay? Is he fine? Is he? And I go into this whole thing and I'm spiraling and I'm worried and I'm panicking. And I'm calling his friends and they're like, I know it's hit him hard, but, just give him time, nini. Week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm breaking down because it's hitting me that he's done with me. And all I came to do was to plan his mother's funeral. This was the hardest heartbreak I've ever had. I can't explain what that feels like. I felt so used. And with death, so used. I was in pain. I didn't know what to tell anyone because I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. Then comes the call from Pastor George. Hey, how are you doing? Just wanted to check up on you. How's he doing? Now you have to sit, there's a position you take when you're going to lie. Oh, he's fine. He's taking it hard. He's a bit quiet, but he's fine. Munasemanga character development. Hey, this one was something else. I tell Pastor George he's fine. Okay, you'll tell me when I come and check on you guys. tell you when you can come. Pastor George was doing his duty as a pastor to check after bereavement. And I couldn't even tell him, because now I'm thinking, yani I went, I looked for this pastor that I don't know, I befriended him, I brought him, we went, we prayed, we did, and then now I tell him, ata siku hapa. Hey. How do you explain that? How do you, to the pastor? Hey, you guys, how do you explain that? He called again. Another week he called again. Now he'll pick up. This meeting, I think, it's important we meet, because maybe, he's going through a really hard time. So it's been long, Kalacha, when are we meeting? Now, Pastor. He's really not talking to me. In fact, from the day after the funeral, he's never talked to me again. This is almost a month later. Now imagine, now my pastor is like, hiya. Please note, I've known Pastor George at this point, the day we met for going to pick the body, the next day of prayers, and then he's now talking to me on phone. I've not seen him again in person. And I'm breaking down on the phone to technically somebody I'd call a stranger, because, what? And I have to tell him what happened. I had to let go of all the embarrassment and just be on. I couldn't hold it anymore. And he's like, but I thought you two were together. In fact, I thought you're almost married. Well, tulikuwa talking stages, alafu he, kind of fell off, and then he came back, and then we buried his mother, and I technically did all that. So there was really nothing. But I did what I did. Now I don't know why I did it, but here we are. And Pastor George now in his amazing fashion and the way he's blessed with so much grace says, okay, these things can happen, and you don't know why you were placed in that position to do what you did. You don't know why God gave you the strength to do what you did. If you did it with a clean heart with no intention to gain something from it or to win his heart over, your debt is paid. There's nothing else to worry about. And I made a friend in Pastor George from that day. Every week he'd call me, check in on me, and we'd go to Jaffrey's and just walk around the track, exercise and talking life. And remember, I had been angry at God for a while, so I'm there thinking, no, and I don't want to lie again. Do you go to church? Not anymore. My mother has been praying about it for years now. And so he says, it's okay. The day you feel like coming, me, I'm not going to tell you. Ati, you must come, you must. No, let's just keep talking. And we kept talking, and he was listening, and I was able to open up in a way that I hadn't opened up. I had somebody who was listening without judgment, didn't know anything about my past, didn't really know me other than having heard me before on radio, and we just talked. And we walked around the track. Every week we would have a date to do that. And within a month, I took myself to church. I said, let me just go see this church. And I went to Kileleshwa Covenant Church, where he was at the time. And I started attending church actively, and I was happy, and he introduced me to other, amazing people in the church. And, there were people who are funky. You're afraid to go to church. Nabi Baptist, it's old school. So you and your blonde hair might not look like you're very welcome, or you might not feel, you start thinking. But it was cool, it was nice. And I started going to church. And this is about, all this was happening probably, this mishap had happened probably around July, and so now by August, we've buried and I've gone through all this. So September, I'm in church, and I'm enjoying every Sunday. And I'm thinking, I need something to fill this gap, to fill this pain. I cannot take it anymore. I feel like I've burnt out so many failed, fallen down relationships that don't make sense. And this was painful. Why was I burying somebody's mother, someone who doesn't even care about me? I went to Odumo, guy. Nyalgunga. And so I'm really now looking to fill a void. October 1st, 2017. Sitting in a sermon that was being led by the lead pastor at Kilelesha Covenant Community Church, Pastor Buki. Pastor George was doing the youth service. He wasn't even in that sanctuary. And I heard the voice of God tell me, I love you. Come home. That is where I met the true love of my life. That is where I left it at the altar. That is where he took my ashes and gave me beauty. And I've never looked back. And that is my love story.